Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where I'm working with you step by step through the ABRSM Theory Grades. And we're now going to look at the second paper in the Grade 3 papers of 2016. So this is paper B. There are loads of resources available to help you on my website. If you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets. They're available in US letter or A4 to accompany each step of this series. All the information that you need to know can be found within these PDFs. There's also a page with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and if you want to revise some topics, I'll go through every section of the Music Theory and Practice workbook, and so there's all the topics that you need to help you with this grade on those video tutorials you can find there. You can also access information about the books that I have available. I've written How to Take Your ABRSM Music Theory Exam, and it's full of tips and techniques on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to best make use of the time when you're actually taking the exam in the exam room. So if you visit sharonbill.com, it's all there for you. Make sure you've got a sharp pencil. I've got a mechanical pencil here. You need an eraser and a ruler, and then we're all ready to go. So if you turn with me to page 6, and we're going to start paper B of the grade 3 theory papers from 2016. I do recommend that you try this paper on your own first of all. It's always better to learn by your mistakes, so don't worry if you get it wrong. You'll know it for next time. So please do try these questions on your own first of all. If you just work through it with me, you won't learn it quite so thoroughly unless you've had a go yourself first of all. But now I'm going to go over each question with you so you can understand how to fully make the most of this exam paper. So question 1 asks us to add the missing bar lines to each of these 3 melodies, which all begin on the first beat of the bar. Notice it italicises 3 melodies. And so if you look through the question, we've got 1, 2, 3 different melodies. So don't just get carried away and think that it's all a continuation of the same thing. It won't work. And so we need to notice that this has got 3 crotchet beats or 3/4 notes per bar. So we're counting in those units. And after every 3, we need to add a bar line. Now the first of all, the maths way of this is to work out that this is half a beat. We've got a 1/4 of a beat rest, and then we've got a 1/4 of a beat note, and a half plus 2/4 makes a whole. So we know that that's 1 beat. However, at a glance, we know from the rules of beaming that we have to beam in crotchet beats or quarter note groups. So straight away we know we've got 1 beat, 2 beats, 3 beats. Job done. Again, if we look at the maths, this is half a beat plus a dot, which makes it half as long again, so that's 3/4 of a beat, and then we've got an 1/8 and an 1/8, which together makes a 1/4, and so all together we know that that makes 1 beat. However, at a glance, you know, we beam together, there's 1 crotchet beat, so we've got 1 beat, half plus a half makes 1 beat, there's 1 beat in rest, and so 1, 2, 3, bar line. 3/4 and a 1/4 makes 1, and we know that they're beamed together, so we've got 1 beat there, we've got 1 beat there. Now this looks terrifyingly difficult, and yet we know that we beam together in groups of 1 beat, so job done, there we go. However, just to explain the maths, 3, a triplet means 3 in the time of 2, so really we've got 2 semiquavers or 2 16th notes, 3 in the time of 2 again, and we know that 4/4 makes a whole. So although that looks terrifying, it's very easy to suddenly strip it back to its basic maths, and there we go. Again, we know that we've got 1 beat, half and a half makes 1, plus 1 makes 1. And if you just work the maths out, we've got half a beat here, and then all of these together will make your half as well. So there we go. Let's look at the next one. So now this is a new time signature. We're counting in different note values. Here we're counting 6/8 notes or 6 quaver beats per bar, and this is in compound time where everything's grouped in 3. And if you remember, 6/8 is duple compound, so we need 2 groups of 3, and we can see 1, 2, 3, there's our first group, 1 1/2, 2, 3, there's our second group, 1, 2 groups of 3, bar line. Or we can count it in 6 quaver beats, 1, 2, 3, 4 1/2, 5, 6, because those two will add up to our quaver as well. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's our 2 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a quaver or an eighth note. 5, 6. There we go. Yep, and then we know it's not going to completely finish because it says etc. So that means this bar is incomplete. So we know that's the end of that section, and from then on it just continues ahead. We don't need to worry about that. Next bit. So now we're counting in minim beats or half notes. We've got 3 half notes per bar. And so we need to count half notes. So here we know that 2 crotchets or 2 quarter notes make a minim. And with there you can see we've got 1 1/2 crotchets plus a half a crotchet beat there. However, it's much easier if we're thinking in minim beats or half notes. That's 3/4 and a quarter of a minim or a half note. There's 1 minim beat. There's another minim beat. There's 1 crotchet beat or 1 quarter note. Those together make 1 quarter note, so altogether there's our minim beat. 1, 2, 3. We know that 4 quavers or 4 eighth notes makes a minim because we're adding together those unit values. Crotchet or quarter note makes a minim, and so straight ahead away we know there's another, and there's another. 1, 2, 3. There's 1 minim beat or half note, 3/4 and a quarter of a minim, or you could prefer to think of it as there's 1 crotchet beat, 1 quarter note, and those two make another, and then there we find our minim. And then there's another one. There's our 3 minim beats, there's the bar line, and then because it says etc. we know that that bar doesn't have to be complete. Just getting your maths head going with this here, it's just a bit tricky as the unit values change whether we're counting in crotchet beats or quarter notes, quaver beats or eighth notes, or minim beats and half notes. We have to keep changing the unit value. The note relationships don't change, but the way that we count them does. It's a bit like saying 2/4, 1/2 and 0.5. It's all the same, but we count it differently, and that's what we're doing here. Now this next question too, moving on, it asks us to complete a 4-bar rhythm. However, in the 2018 papers and from there on in, this 4-bar rhythm question will not appear in your exam papers anymore. That's no longer part of the revised exam papers, and so we're going to miss that out and move straight on to the next question. So question 3 asks us to transpose this melody up an octave, and we've got to go from bass clef to treble clef as shown. Now they've generously started us off. The thing to be careful about here is always making sure that we end up in the correct octave, and middle C is a good anchor point. So here's middle C, C, B, A, here is the first A, and then we're another octave with the A below that. So to transpose this melody up an octave, we will still be on the A below middle C. And so here's our middle C, B, A. That's our starting point. So that's just something to really be careful of. And so now that we've got that starting point, everything else is pretty simple. So we're going to go 1, 3, 4 up, 1, 3, 4 to the D. Same note, back to the note that we started on. Next door, up a step, up 1, 2, 3, and it takes us back to where we were, so we should be in the same place. Up 3 again, same note, back down 3 to where we were, same note, 1, 2, 3, up 3, back to where we were, up 3 again, yep, there we go. Next door, and then back down 1, 3, 5, 6, and it should take us back to here. So let's count down. 1, 3, 5, 6 takes us back to the D, and so we know we're correct. Down a step, so this is a C, so an octave higher will be middle C, and so we know that we're in the right place. Up 3 steps to the E, and then up 4 steps to the A, 1, 3, 4 to the A, and we can double check that we're back where we should be. Down a step, down a step, and then just finish with the rest. So that's the thinking done. All we've got to do now is make the timing correct by adding the dots and stems, making sure the stems are pointing the right way. Remember, below the middle line, and we have to move the stems pointing upwards. This is the easy bit now. By all means use a ruler if you're not sure. Now this one we can swap, this can go either way. I'm going to keep it going up though, just because everything else is. These can be joined together. 1, 2, 3, 4 takes us to the G. I think I'll use a ruler for this bit. By all means use a ruler wherever you're not sure, keep it neat and tidy. And there we go. So that's the end of that question. For the next question, we'll look at that in the next video. I do hope that's been helpful to you. If it has, give me a like. That'd be really encouraging to me. Please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's loads more to come. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. And please do visit sharonbale.com and look at all the resources available to help you there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.